The man at our Sunday league games never once watched the ball. I noticed that before I noticed anything else about him. You can feel it when a crowd reacts to a goal and one head doesn't move. I'm Grady, by the way, 34. I run a warehouse shift outside Columbus. On Sundays, I play left mid in a rec league that is, honestly, more about the cooler of drinks after than the soccer. Wives come, kids run around. It's the safest place I know. Keep that picture in your head, because that's what he used. He parked the same way every week. Silver sedan, back row of the lot, nose pointed at our field. He'd sit on the hood with his phone propped against the windshield. Not held up like you film your buddy. Propped. Steady. The way you set up a camera you don't want anyone to clock. First few weeks, nobody cared. Lots of people film games. Somebody's uncle, somebody's ride. There's always a guy. It was Reggie's wife who asked the question that started it. She walked the lot at halftime looking for the bathroom, came back and said, kind of joking, "Whose people is that guy with?" Nobody answered. 3 teams were out that day. Between us, we knew every cousin, every girlfriend, every dog. Nobody knew him. I want you to understand how easy it was to let that go. We had a cooler, we had a game to finish. A man with no team at a public field is a Tuesday in America. We let it go. He was there the next Sunday, and the one after. Here's where it stopped being background. In July, our league moved 1 game across town. A makeup fixture at a field by the fairgrounds. Different neighborhood, different day. A Thursday night under the lights. Maybe 40 people on the planet knew that game was happening. The silver sedan was in the lot when I got there. I stood next to my car for a minute, and I mean a full minute, holding my bag, doing the math. The math was off. There was no schedule posted anywhere public. He would have had to follow somebody to know. My stomach did the thing where it answers before your brain does. I played anyway. I played terribly. Every time the ball went out on his side, I felt the phone on me like a heat lamp. After that night, I started testing it. I'm not proud of how long I treated it like a puzzle instead of a problem. I skipped a week. He left at halftime. I switched fields with a guy from the B side so I'd be on the far pitch. The sedan moved lots, slow, casual, between the first and second half. It moved to my side. I told the league rep, a retired school teacher named Bonnie, who runs the whole thing off a clipboard. I expected her to tell me I was being dramatic. She didn't. She got very quiet and asked me his build, his car. And then she said, "We banned a man like that from the Westerville League 2 years ago. For filming." "For filming what?" I asked. She said that was never really clear. And that was the answer that kept me up. The league sent him a no trespass letter through the county, since the fields are park property. For 3 weeks, the lot was clean. I let my shoulders come down. I figured a piece of paper had fixed it, the way you figure a creaky house is just settling. It hadn't fixed anything. He just stopped coming to league games. He started coming to the pickup runs instead, the casual Saturday ones that aren't on any schedule, the ones you only know about from the group chat. Sedan in the back row. Phone propped. Head still. The day it broke open was an accident. He left in a hurry once, mid-game, engine on before I even saw him move. And the phone slid off the hood. Just slid. Bounced once in the grass by the curb. Tyler, one of our defenders, jogged over to grab it for him, yelling, "Hey man, your phone!" The screen lit up in Tyler's hand. It was still recording. And when he went to stop it, the camera roll opened up. That grid of little squares. Weeks of little squares. Tyler told me he stood there in the grass and went cold. Every square was the same. Same field, same angle, same colors. A player in a blue penny. Number 11. I wear 11. Not the goals, not the fights, and rec league has fights. Me jogging back on defense. Me on the sideline with my boot off. Me walking to my car. Dozens of them. He'd been filming me walk to my car. The man came back for the phone before Tyler could do anything smarter. Snatched it, said nothing, drove off. We stood in the lot like 2 kids who'd opened the wrong door. I did file the report. I'll be straight with you. The police were decent but limited. Filming a public park isn't a crime in itself. What moved it was the no trespass letter he'd already burned through. That and what a deputy found when they finally talked to him at his car. He was parked outside the fairgrounds field on a night we didn't even have a game. A spiral notebook on the passenger seat. Schedules, field assignments. Our roster pulled off the league's webpage. One name underlined. I don't have to tell you which number that name wore. Trespass charge. A formal warning on the stalking statute, which the deputy explained to me honestly, like he was apologizing for it. You'd want it to end with more. It ended with a misdemeanor and a man who knows my name, somewhere in a city I still live in. He never told anyone why. That's the part I chew on at red lights. There's no story I can put on it that makes it land soft. A scout, you'd talk to me. A relative, you'd wave. He just collected me, square by square, for most of a summer, at the one place I'd have sworn on my life was safe. I still play Sundays. I love it too much to give it to him. And besides, the Buckeyes own Saturdays, so Sunday's all I've got. But I do a thing now I never used to do. Before kickoff, while everyone else stretches, I walk my eyes along the lot, hood by hood, looking for a phone that's propped and not held. My team thinks it's a superstition. I let them think that.
After every game, there was a note under my windshield wiper. I'll call myself Janelle. I work nights in an emergency room in Greenville, which means I've seen what people are capable of, and I still didn't see this coming. I play in a women's league Thursday evenings at a complex with 6 fields and one of those gravel lots that eats your ankles. It's beer league level, y'all. Nobody's getting scouted. I played number 9 since college because 9 was my mama's softball number. That detail matters. Stay with me. The first note was sweet, if you read it the way I chose to read it. Folded once, tucked under the wiper. Great game tonight, number 9. I read it standing in the gravel, and I actually smiled. I thought it was somebody's husband being corny, or one of the older ladies from the early match. I put it in the cup holder and forgot it by the time I hit the highway. The second one came 2 games later. Good recovery after that knock. You got right back up. I had taken a hit that night, a knee to the thigh that put me in the gravel. So whoever wrote it had watched the whole game. Fine. People watch games. But something in the phrasing sat wrong, like a hand resting a little too long on your shoulder. You got right back up. That's not a compliment. That's a log entry. The third note is when the temperature changed. It mentioned my warm-up. The specific thing I do, sitting on my bumper, switching from sandals into cleats, left foot always first. The note called it cute. I stood in that lot and turned in a full circle, real slow, with my keys laced through my fingers the way they teach you. 6 fields. Maybe 100 people scattered around, packing coolers, chasing toddlers. He was one of them. He was watching me read it. I knew it the way you know someone's behind you in a dark kitchen. My skin answered before I did. I did the sensible things, in the sensible order. I told my team. I told the complex office, where a 19-year-old with braces wrote it down on a sticky note, bless his heart. I started parking in different rows, different ends, once even on the street past the gate. The notes found my car every time. Doesn't matter how you shuffle the deck if the dealer can see every card. He knew my car the way he knew my warm-up. So I got strategic. I'm an ER tech. I problem solve under pressure for a living. Mid-season, our jerseys got reprinted after a sponsor change, and I asked the coordinator, quietly, to give me a new number. No announcement. Roster sheet only said last names. I went from 9 to 14. For one game, nothing. No note. I drove home with the windows down, singing along to the radio, feeling like I'd outplayed him, feeling like sweet tea on a porch, just relief you can taste. I let myself believe I'd ended it with a jersey. I had not. The next Thursday, the note was there before the game even started. I saw it from 30 feet away, that little white tongue under the wiper, and my legs went heavy like the gravel had turned to wet sand. 4 words. 14 doesn't suit you. I didn't play that night. I sat in the complex office with the door locked while my entire team, 22 women, walked the lots and the tree line in pairs like a search party. I love them for that. They didn't find him. Of course they didn't. He'd had a whole season to learn that place better than any of us. The police took it seriously once there was a stack. That's the cold arithmetic of it. 1 note is a secret admirer. 6 notes is a file. A detective, a no-nonsense woman who reminded me of my charge nurse, told me to keep every scrap, every envelope, and to vary my exit time. The complex pulled what cameras they had. Most of them pointed at the registers in the concession stand, because of course the money mattered most. But one camera caught the corner of Lot C, and on 3 different Thursdays, the same man drifted into frame within minutes of our final whistle. Khaki ball cup, hands in pockets. He never went to a field. He went from car to car along my row like he was reading mailboxes, found mine, did his little errand, and walked back toward the access road. No vehicle on camera. He parked somewhere we never found. They identified him off a traffic stop 2 towns over, a 48-year-old man with no connection to the league, no relative on any roster, nothing. When they interviewed him, he told the detective he was my biggest supporter. That's the word he used. Supporter. He had a folder of printouts in his truck, game schedules going back 2 seasons. The detective wouldn't show me everything, and I have decided to be grateful for that. A stalking charge stuck. The notes after the jersey change proved what the law calls a course of conduct. They proved he was identifying me personally, not admiring some player. 14 doesn't suit you turned out to be the sentence that convicted him. The thing he wrote to scare me is the thing that caught him. There's a justice in that I can almost enjoy, from a distance, on a good day. He got probation, a protective order, and a ban from every county park. I got a new rule, and honestly, my whole team got it with me. Nobody walks to the lot alone. Not ever. 22 grown women moving in pairs like grade school, and not one of us has ever once joked about it. I kept playing. I went back to 9, too. He doesn't get my mama's number, but I'll tell you the part that stays. It's not the notes. It's that for a whole season, the best hour of my week, the 1 hour that was mine, had an audience of one I never saw. I've gone back through that season in my head so many times, every face on every sideline, and there's just a smear where he should be. He watched me hundreds of hours. I couldn't pick him out of a hallway. That's the part nobody warns you about. You don't get a face to be afraid of. You get every face. The padlock on the storage room was locked from the inside. I stood there with my coffee going cold, working out why that sentence was wrong. A padlock hasp on a steel door, and the shackle was seated, but the hasp plate was on the wrong side of the frame. Somebody had moved the whole fitting. You don't notice a thing like that unless the door is yours. That door was mine. I should say up front, I'm not the nervous type. I'm 41, I've run grounds for a city park complex in Oklahoma for 11 years. 4 soccer fields, 2 leagues, 1 me. I open the gates at 5 in the morning, I chalk the lines, I fix what breaks. Tulsa habit, I stop at Quick Trip on the way in, every day. Same coffee, same lady at the register. At that hour, the place is all mist and geese. I have loved it for 11 years. I need you to know that, so you know what got taken. It started small, the way these things apparently do. A case of sports drink walked out of the storage room in May. I wrote it up as teenagers. A padlock I could have sworn I'd clicked shut, hanging open. I wrote that up as me getting old. Then the corner kit went weird. Whoever used the practice cones kept stacking them back wrong, in a spiral, tight, like a seashell. League coaches throw cones in a bag. Nobody nests them. I remember standing over that little spiral one morning, thinking, kind of out loud, well, that's new. You can hum past one wrong note. I hummed past a whole song. In June, the field lights came on at 3 in the morning, twice. The second time, the city's energy report flagged it, and my supervisor asked me about it like I'd done it. The breaker box for those lights is behind a locked cage. There are 2 keys. I have one. The office has the other. I checked the cage that afternoon. The lock was fine. I told myself a power surge could do it. I have stood in front of that box for 11 years. It has never once surged itself a light show. Here's your warning, in case you're like me. When you catch yourself building little machines to explain away your own equipment, somebody else is already inside your day. The morning that ended it was a Tuesday in late June. Frost out of season, one of those freak cold snaps, the whole pitch silvered. I came through the gate at 5 with the mower trailer and stopped halfway down the access road. There were footprints in the frost. Coming out from under the far bleachers, the old covered set by field 4, crossing the pitch in a dead straight line, stopping at the chain link by the gate I had just driven through, and then going back. Whoever made them had stood at that fence, facing the entrance, facing where I come in at 5 every morning, long enough to melt 2 clear ovals in the frost, then walked home. Under my bleachers. I did not go look under the bleachers. I want credit for that, because every part of me that fixes things for a living wanted to go look. I sat in the truck with the doors locked and called the non-emergency line. Then I called my supervisor. Then I just sat there, watching that dark slot under the seats. The way you'd watch a hole you just saw something go into. The officers found the panel first. The old covered bleachers have skirting around the base, plywood sheets, and one sheet was hung on a hinge that had no business being there. A door. A handmade door with an interior latch, which answered my padlock question in a way I did not enjoy. Behind it, the responding officer's flashlight found what the report would later call a habitation. I saw it myself, later, when they had him out, and I had to inventory city property. A foam camping pad, a sleeping bag rated for winter. My missing case of sports drink, drunk down to 4. A camp stove he'd been running, under wooden bleachers, which still puts a coal in my stomach when I think about it. And the wall. He had papered the inside skirting with printouts, game photos from both leagues' social media pages, schedules, a couple of laminated flyers stolen off the kiosk. Months of our little soccer complex, taped up like a kid's bedroom shrine. I was the one who saw the circles. The officers were cataloging, and I was standing in that crouched little room hugging my own elbows, and I kept seeing this red pen circle, photo after photo. Not on the players, off to the side of the players. On the edges of frames, in the backgrounds, circled careful as a teacher grading. It took me too long to recognize her, because you never recognize yourself from the outside. A heavyset figure on a green machine at the margin of a team photo, a pair of work boots behind a goal celebration, a sun hat, half out of frame, chalking a line. Every circle was me, not the athletes, not the pretty 25-year-olds in uniform, and I say that with love. Me, the 5 a.m. lady with the keys. He hadn't been watching the leagues at all. He'd been watching the one person whose schedule never changed, who came alone, in the dark, every single day, and unlocked every door in his world. They woke him up out of that sleeping bag at 9 in the morning. He'd been under there. The investigators worked out from receipts and the energy logs, somewhere between 4 and 6 months. He was 53. He had a trespass record at a rec center 2 counties over. When they asked him about the circles, he said, and the officer read me this line off his notepad because I asked him to. She's the one who opens it. She's the one who opens it. People lived under a pro stadium once for years. I learned afterward, my supervisor sent me the article like it would comfort me. Like a precedent makes a thing smaller. It doesn't. 4 to 6 months he was at my elbow. Every gate I unlocked at 5 in the morning, I unlocked 20 feet from a sleeping man with my picture circled in red. 11 years that complex was mine in the dark, and for the last half of one of them, it wasn't, and I never felt the difference. That's what I can't hand back. Not the fear, the not feeling it. He took a plea. Criminal trespass. The camp stove bought him a reckless burning count, and the photo wall bought him a stalking charge that, I was told, rarely sticks and stuck. I still open the fields. I asked for that after, when the city offered to move me to the rose gardens like I was the problem. But I open at sunrise now, never before, and the skirting on every bleacher in that park is bolted steel mesh now because I bolted it myself. And every morning, first thing, before the geese, before the coffee, I walk the line of padlocks and pull each one twice. 8 locks, 2 pulls, my morning teeth. The day one of them sits wrong on its hasp again, I will already be back in the truck,